Jill here with Sirius Stylus Moon, and this is Jupiter Hour. Now, after the nose episode, I want to give you some tips on how to know that your boyfriend or girlfriend have somewhere between addiction to child porn. Sorry, but a lot of the people that are going, particularly to academia, are required to be in secret societies where they are required to, depending on their rank, either watch child porn or produce child porn. We had actually, in the open apartments, we had a person that was studying mathematics, and he was actually a very good mathematician, but he had to film a film of him raping a boy. And I was told by a person that may have had to do the same or something similar and may have been involved in harming me. While I took a break from academia, that person didn't. So, Ben Gurion University of the Negev, mathematics department, politics department, and geophysical studies or geological departments, geography. But this is literally all of academia everywhere. And um, how to tell if your boyfriend or girlfriend have child porn addiction. I cannot tell you all the things that could possibly say that because I don't know them, but here is something I ran into when they tried to traffic me, and it came from both men and the women that they trafficked. The women that they trafficked to be, let's say, madame or something like that, they would have kind of like a double job. Some of them would even be energy readers, and this is where, and I because child porn is not just to girls but also to boys, and because there are forced sex changes, so I'm speaking of both genders. Hair. One of the things I remember after the Me Too, I went to work with this, JADEX selling course, and you're in the same Taurus, so it was really funny because women that were trans women, a lot of them were trying to portray their transness by shaving, or trans men by not shaving. And feminism took a different turn back then because it was about celebrating our armpit hair, our genital hair, and the fact that now it's very weird to say we're sexual adults because those of you who know about me know that I have been and still tending to my inner child quite some, which means that in many cases I'm not even able to be erotic with anybody. And it actually prevented me from dating um, a lot because it's important to meet our unmet needs and not expect, I don't know, I wasn't expecting a partner to be the therapist or anything like that. Although I did went to a therapist to try to be a trafficker. Or was a trafficker? I don't know. Anyway, hair. Now, if you get things that are particularly obsessed with how should you wear or not wear your hair, um, whether it's genital hair or armpit, darling, that's a red flag. Man or woman, that's a red flag. Now I know how minds, I know the criminal minds out there gonna stop shaving their chest, gonna stop shaving their backs. I know the criminal minds out there. Okay, don't think I don't know. But here is the thing: if you get these very special requirements, that means the girl or the dude has a certain type of porn addiction at the very least. And those usually go hand in hand with secret societies because every man knows every, and I think women too. When I ran into like porn when we were filmmaking in university, the first year, and this was when we had a set where uh, we actually had porn. So other than Bravo or something like that, um, we just filmed in a sex shop, and I thought it's gonna be really cool. But then noticed that there was something like really addictive that was trying to affect my sexuality, and I'm like, I don't like that. So the fact that I had zero shame about sexuality was a contributing factor because it did not, it didn't, it didn't get me, and I just didn't watch porn. So, by the way, MK Ultra and MK Often is people forcibly watching porn. When I was attacked by MK Often, it was also an attack on trying to show my third eye, porn related stuff, um, which was, and by the way, when Israel was invaded in 7th of October, probably they do that to Palestine as well. There was such attacks. And this is Mason, MK Often, MK Ultra. Everybody knows that from like anybody that knows anybody that was in Masonry, then these are people that are forced to watch this. It's desensitization rituals, and they're told all kinds of stuff. Like, in the lower ranks, they're either told all kinds of stuff. Like, I don't know how to get them, but these folks have problems with intimacy with the girlfriends. The lady doesn't feel safe in bed. It's not orgasmic that way. Um, and this is so that they will be matched up with the trafficked girls, which would be sent to be informants and assassin them. Hmm. So you meet somebody that really has an insistence on whatever, whether it's armpit hair or genital hair or whatnot, man or woman, man or woman, is something associated with that. And that's gone now. Let's do some astrology. Hair, Mercury and Saturn. Saturn, debt, slavery. When they were in the death camps, they were shaving the hair of the men and the women. Um, Pubic hair is basically a sign that somebody's becoming adolescent. Supposed to be, not when people are completely, tortured and trafficked and so on and so forth. But um, but the bodily attraction to the no pubic hair yet, which would mean no fertility signs yet, which people would be attracted to because there would be less chances to be extorted, because that child would have less chances to become pregnant, and the extortion cults would basically loot them when the child would get pregnant. Watch the interview of Annika Lucas with Vartmal. Vartmal. And
It was time.
and this is also to do with trafficking cults. Okay, the traffickers, they want people to look like little girls. Um, they want people to not have. They want people to always have the hair. Anybody been watching rap? How the ladies were bragging about always smelling good, always this, always that, and then what was it? There was one rapper that said roses really smell like. um, okay, I know you like to brag your shit don't stink, and but roses really smell like. And here's the thing about it. Also, when some more JDAC courses tips, um, many, and I can say it even as aromatherapist. Uh, A lot of people were taught that they need to put all kinds of things that they don't necessarily need to put in their genitals. Now, again, if it doesn't harm you and it makes you feel good, I mean, go for it. Whenever I have my moon days, I definitely have my oils. Um, okay, we even had a recommendation for a skin condom that is not sensitive to the oil in like coconut oil and stuff. Um, like for the people out there that want to explore pleasure, go ahead. That's the point. That's the antidote. As long as you remember to meet your non-erotic needs. Um, okay, it's not about getting addicted to anything. No, it's not that episode. I don't have rights for that. Sven Cole. So episode 13 with Sven Cole, and he talks about the fact that he was a boy that was even made to look like a girl when they didn't have girls because the girls got pregnant in the extortion cults. So, yeah, that shit is serious. That shit is serious. So, of course, uh, the portrayal of sexuality in the media was skewed so that people will be addicted to sex rather than enjoy sensuality. And to enjoy sensuality takes respect to sexual boundaries, respect in general, honoring of the self, and so on and so forth. And their whole addiction form is by sexual shame. So they would rape the boys and call them whore, rape the girls and call them whore, and they basically um, would create an ideation around whoredom and all of those complexes that affected a lot of people. Now, partially because a lot of people for their careers had to be networking. And I said what I said. So, since your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your date is in it in one way or another, is those requirements around here. And of course, all of those weird soaps and stuff like that. No, not compatible with the pH. I don't know what do they do there for like men or for penis people. A lot of people that are even survivors maybe got forced gender change. So um, and that is another thing that can create like hormonal changes or hair changes and so on and so forth. Um, but definitely any requirement or any insistence or any, if somebody wants you to like design your hair or something like that, like I said, is not coming from a cool thing, and you're gonna see it. And you know what? You're gonna see it because when you say no, they try to be insistent. You know that it's a trafficking cult. It can mean that the person's trying to film you. It can mean that um, and now this can come not just like directly through the boyfriend or the girlfriend. It can come through like energy readers, and sometimes you get an energy reader that says, "Oh, you should take care of yourself. Fix your hair down there. That lady is a trafficker." Okay. They use energy readers. Now, I'm not putting the shame or blame because I just, I made the episode about kind of like the bigger, the bigger devils. Okay, the people that literally had to traffic and kidnap people children and torture and rape them and so on and so forth. So I literally explained how did they get the person to do that. Um, so it's not about shame and blame. I believe many people are one kidnapping away from becoming literally the worst devil on earth. And that just depends on what kind of programming and training they do to them. Um, and how much access do they have to a place to stay, to to income and so on and so forth. Um, and so let me state that when I tell you what the signs are, it's not like, oh, they're devils, they're this, they're that. Of course, it's aggravating. Of course, it's aggravating. I had an energy reading saying that to a reading I was kind of called to listen to, and this call to listen to, watch Annika Lucas. These are people trying to plant urges in people or hack nervous systems. Actually, Shanice Arudi, my teacher for the second aromatherapy course, she told me that she knows how to plant thoughts in people. We're at her house and we're playing this game, kind of like a board game, and she was just using that to try to win the game. I kid you not. I kid you not. And I was like, you know, okay. At first she reads people's thoughts, then she plants thoughts in people's heads. But for me it was like, okay, at least I'm aware because she was talking about that. So at least I'm aware. And then Annika Lucas gave it a different context because those children were basically programmed to plant urges in people to harm them. I cannot, begin to explain how terrible it is. Think about young Dutroux, okay? For when he was raped, when he met that pedo at 15, probably caged, probably tortured. Then he would meet girls, and these girls could have had their nervous system hacked, and he would get the sign of which girl to kidnap, because somebody was activating that, and then he learned to be the programmer. Watch out, watch Alandra. Okay? Watch Alandra now. Very, very difficult. Now, of course, it's shit fucking aggravating. Shit fucking aggravating. But this is why I'm talking about it, because those are signs that there are people that have to do with those things. Now again, somebody got tortured to loss of sense of self, they're gonna say some stuff. But I also want you to identify when is a person tortured to loss of sense of self, and you're gonna see it when they try to tell you stuff, or you watch an energy reading, they say, oh, keep your hair down there. Um, like, like, darling, the guy that knows how to respect a woman, he ain't he ain't hung up on no porn shit. He, he, he ain't trying to take a sexuality to try to make somebody do something. Now, let me tell you something. Did I not recognize the psychologist behind that lady? Of course I did. Of course I did. Watch Light Sefa, where she talks about how these cults of personality or whatever use dark occult to try to speak through to try to speak through other people. There's shit ton of sex cult out there, and one of the first signs is that they're not gonna have a sex positive sexuality. So those are external things, external signs. And this is the thing, just like what is narcissistic or abusive relationship, they try to test the boundaries. Now, people that are in kinky settings, for kinky people, okay, watch Evie Lupine. People have discussions, conversations, communication around certain settings. They need to arrange for how they practice withdrawn consent in the kinky setting. Okay? So I'm not, definitely not vanilla shaming here, and definitely not kink shaming. It's important for me to explain that because sexuality was used to be shamed or to be um, used as a tool for manipulation and power. This is why relaxed arousal versus misplaced arousal is so important. It's a part of sovereignty. Now, here is the thing. This is also why when people talk about it, sometimes Annika Lucas does that. They say, oh, people transcended the sexual urges and so on and so forth. Come on. That's what priests say. That's what gurus say. Um, and again, I'm all for sexual energy transmutation. Amazing practice. But um, we need to address misplaced arousal versus relaxed arousal. By the way, having no reach has also to do with that. Okay? It has also to do with that. Now it's shit fuck terrifying because this is where people had loss of sense of self, loss of self-trust, and so on and so forth. And it's also an open discussion. Okay, a lot of people had. I saw a lot of people mocking Epstein's Klinefelter syndrome, which is basically the small penis. Now, here is the thing. If we were growing up in non-shaming settings, there are many things, people can use actually technology to make people feel one another's orgasms and so on and so forth. Like, there are many good things that can be done when the sexual boundaries are honored. Like, if you're looking at Epstein and your problem is the anomalies around his genitals that are the result of cloning and genetic, basically genetic mutation, that with non-abusive upbringing could still yield a happy, thriving person that enjoys sexuality in a safe, sane environment. And they go to those details so that the people will be ashamed of something to do with sex. And then they would use that as justification to traffic people because, oh, some people don't enjoy sexual pleasure and so on and so forth. Falken. Do you know who are the people that find it very difficult to enjoy, sexual pleasure? The people that are escaping trafficking codes. If there is no place for sexual boundary honoring sexuality, and cameras or not is also sexual boundaries. Most of the people that, even if people had, amazing sex, but there was a camera and they didn't know it. I'm not saying I'm not saying to sleep with a child, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But there's a camera and they didn't know it. That's rape. If both of them didn't know it, both of them were raped. If one of them didn't know it, the other one is a rapist. To make it even more funny, a lot of people are concerned about cheating. Okay, people that escape like rape or trafficking or domestic violence, uh, like your cheating problems are not okay. Like, and your cheating problems stem from that. Either somebody's in a treason cult where they have to traffic or cheat on their wife, or wife has to cheat on the husband, or there is actual mind control trafficking involved. And you're gonna have to look to Uranus because Uranus can yield kind of like unexpected affairs, and it usually is about either a childhood need was not met, or granted it is not abusive relationship, um, or a phase in life, or something like a creative endeavor that was not expressed. It has something to do with the Kundalini rise. Um, that comes with that person or and not with that person. Okay, for example, person that had something missing in upbringing, then they could be the giver and the provider, but then they forget to provide for themselves. Then they can have like a really massive attraction to someone who is providing for them when they are doing the shadow work of being able to relate or being able to receive. And it can even be so much so as like they try to be with one person and a person tries to work with them and also being on the receptive side and so on and so forth. And then boom, it happens with somebody else. Astrologically speaking, it could be that their moon would follow their partner's moon, where they're the provider, and then when they finally learn to receive, they might meet a person around maybe even Uranus transit that has their moon okay, but basically after providing for them, okay, after their moon, and that can be basis for a lot of things. That the best thing to do is to address the relational issues of all of the, triad. Now it might pop up a trafficking ring, so like I say, Uranus comes to liberate. There is no sexual liberation in rape. And another tip is for the people in recovery, always go to the unmet emotional child needs before trying to understand your sexuality. This tip was written in blood. Okay? Beyond scary stuff, just the fact that to be talking about sexuality or to be visibly a woman, or is shit fuck scary? And one actually needs courage to dare to speak is also shit fuck scary. It shows us how far off our society has been from happy, thriving relationships, erotic and non-erotic, romantic and not romantic. So yeah, I think we pretty much got that one figured out. Um,